Welcome to Depression Proof Your Life Live, a space for honest conversations about mental health, mental wellness, recovery, and resilience. Here, we explore how communication, environment, and mindset work together to move us from silence to strength. We talk with people who have faced real-life challenges and explore the practical systems and daily structures that help them rebuild their mental strength. I'm Marion Mills, and I created DPYL out of my own journey through mental illness, addiction, and recovery. These conversations are about breaking stigma, finding support, and reminding you that you are not alone. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Depression Proof Your Life Live. My guest today is Rebecca Lee, a phenomenal yet incredibly humble voice actor, a trained birth, sex, and death doula, and creator of Sober Sensualist. Like the name. Whether she's voicing national campaigns like for brands like Coca-Cola, Nike, she holds space for some of life's most intimate moments. Her work is centered around one powerful question: what happens when we stop numbing and start staying present? Rebecca lives AF, alcohol free as fuck, in Mexico with her wife, and I'm glad to have her with us today. Rebecca, how you doing today?
I love having an intro. I just want intro that and your voice and music to everywhere I go, just narrating my life.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh no, I love
I'm
your
doing.
voice. But yeah, I'm glad to have you on the show.
Thank you. I'm doing really well. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and of course I have questions, and I can't wait to learn where the name came from. I'm sure that there's an interesting story behind the name. But I of course I was a social worker, so I'm familiar with a doula, and typically
hmm
a birth doula is what I was familiar with. So for
hmm
those that are not familiar, could you explain what a doula does, what it is, what they do? And can you explain the training, and what actually drew you to the different areas that you actually trained in?
Okay, sure thing. A doula is a person who helps, a woman who helps, or a person who helps, especially people to, in this case, walk through certain thresholds, certain phases of life, or stages, if you will. So just someone who is there, who is present, who is to assist or guide sort of the person they're helping through this threshold, whether that's giving birth, which is the one that everyone is familiar with, or
Mhm.
a sex doula, so not a sex surrogate that people kind of wonder if that's, but it's not that. It's just someone who can hold space and be present and help guide you through, figure out what you like, what you need, what you and your partner like. And a death
Okay.
doula is someone who, for me, uh, my particular interest is in uh, talking about and planning for death.
Oh, okay.
For those who maybe are terminal, and their family members, for those who are preparing to die, or holding space and helping with the grieving that are left behind, the loved ones that are left behind. Um, what drew me to these, I think anytime that something really frightens me or fascinates me, and I
Mm,
think it's both, I really
yeah.
wanna study it into the ground to
Yes,
anesthetize
absolutely.
it, to take the sting
Yeah.
away.
Take the
If I
sting away.
learn
Yeah, I
about
like
Yeah,
that.
if I
Mm,
learn about it enough, then maybe it won't hold such power over me. I won't be so afraid of it. So it started with birth. When I had my son, I knew I wanted to have a natural birth. I knew I wanted to do things differently. I knew about the Black female mortality rate and infant mortality rate for mothers,
yes.
and I knew that it was real, that we weren't being taken seriously in our pain and in our laboring. And so I just was afraid. And the fear of that made me study it a little bit. I got myself a doula. My birthing experience was wonderful,
Oh, that's
wonderful and
beautiful.
magical
That's
and
good.
powerful. And I
Yeah.
really wanted to give that to other people, to
Oh, I
let them
love that.
experience. Yeah. And so that's how that started. Then sometime later on, I realized, wow, I still have a lot of hangups around sex, a lot of shame, a lot of
Okay.
from abuse, from prior sexual abuse, and just
Mhm.
things and certain upbringing that makes women in general, I think, feel like they
Right.
shouldn't enjoy, shouldn't like,
Mhm.
shouldn't be this kind of person. And I was like, no, this doesn't make sense because it's the most natural thing in the world. And it's the thing that's splashed across TV screens and used to
Right.
sell products. But then we're still so puritanical and
Mhm.
taboo and afraid. So I wanted to study that. And it was, again, not necessarily to get in the weeds with a individual couple, although I don't mind talking, but more I wanted to be able to talk about and synthesize and process this to give this message to the people. Like, okay, y'all, this is what we can do to be whole and present and just be ourselves and stop having this shame around this thing. And finally, death. And this is my favorite of all of them.
Okay, yeah. Mhm.
It's my favorite of all of them because I think that to some degree we do confront. There's more education, there's more birth education, there's more talking about that. It's coming out there. There's more sex positivity. There's more, like people are. It's in our face regardless. So
That's right.
there's more acceptance sort of around it.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
still, but death, N it's the one thing that is truly universal, right? Because not everybody
Mm.
has to have sex, not everyone has sex, not
Yes.
everyone is born of sex. Not all of us
Mhm.
will experience birthing. We've all been born, but not everyone will experience birthing, but
That's
we are
right.
all gonna die. We are
That's
all.
right.
And for it to be this universally true thing, we
Yeah.
don't ever really talk
Mm.
about it till we're on the phone. It's like, "What? I didn't nobody told me she was sick," or like, it's, like, shocking every time, and how can it
Mm.
be? Sometimes, yes, it's early, and as we're gonna talk about later, it's by their own hand and things like that that make it more
Right.
shocking. But I just mean like the culture, like the silence and the taboo and the we ignore it and put our heads in the sand and just pretend like it's not there.
Mm. Yeah.
That's the part that really does it for me. So I wanted to learn about death and grieving and how we can, to the degree that we can, prepare
Mhm.
for a good death, for a death that maybe doesn't leave our family members reeling, that we can have options outside of this very hospitalized, institutionalized
Mm.
thing that
Yes.
we've handed, right? Like, and that's the true with birth as well. We've handed that to the medical
That's
professionals.
right.
We've
Yeah.
handed death to medical professionals, but there are ways to bring it back to the community, to do it at home, to take care of ourselves, to make it more holistic and more natural, and to take away grieving from this thing that's also taboo and hard to do because you feel like you have to do it on a timeline. And I don't know, there's
Mm,
just so much
mm.
about
No,
it.
no, no. I'm loving where this conversation is going because it's so
Thank you.
true. It's so true,
Yeah, yeah,
There's so
yeah,
much, yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that, and I love the fact that you embrace the things that you fear. And like you said,
yeah,
it knocks that fear away. That
yeah, it
fear
helps.
has no place in education and understanding.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure that you have also learned, which the same way I did with my anxiety, my depression, uh,
Mhm.
a lot of things that I was afraid of. It's like it was all in my head.
Yeah.
It really wasn't anything for me to be afraid of. But I wanna actually kind of stay there a little bit
Sure, sure,
when you, because I think it's really important, and because you talked about it, I want to touch on this a little bit. I
sure,
think it's
sure.
extremely important, especially when it comes to depression, anxiety, and staying there. I like when you
Mhm,
said something about, there's a certain time, there's a stigma around a certain time. Uh,
mhm.
can you just speak to that a little bit more? Because I think it's really important for people to embrace it and understand that this is a part of life, and not,
Mhm,
like you said, do the ostrich and tuck your head and act like
mhm.
it does not exist.
Okay.
In my study, I understand that a lot of times that's where the depression and anxiety comes from, because
Yeah.
people aren't being realistic about what it is and what to expect. So yeah, can you speak on that a little bit more?
Sure, sure, sure. And grieving in particular, just that
Yes.
timeline, is that okay?
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, I think because we are so afraid of death, and yet it
Mhm.
informs everything that we do, and not just death,
Yeah,
but we are afraid of the hard emotions that come around it. We're very afraid of grief,
that's right.
and
Mhm.
and that causes us to shut down parts of ourselves, to
Yeah.
internalize it, to hold it in so that we don't inconvenience other people. We
Mm,
don't want to
that
not
part.
fit the we don't want to not fit the timeline, like, here's the stages. Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice, and not to take away from her work, but yes, there are stages, but they're cyclical. They'll go back
Yeah.
and forth. There is
Yeah.
no out, and there's no timeline, and there's no, "Okay, you
Mhm.
should be finished being sad now."
Right, right.
But we've somehow internalized that we have to do that, and because, on the other hand, our loved ones, we none of us have been taught, unless you take training, to, how to sit with grief. When you're grieving, the onus or the burden on the person that's grieving is to not grieve too much, not too long, not too hard, because
Yes.
if I'm grieving, I don't wanna make you feel bad. If you
Yeah.
ask me how I mean, it's as simple as you ask me how I'm doing today, and I could be having a shitty day, but what do we say? "I'm fine.
I'm
Everything's
fine.
good." Okay,
Mm,
right. But now
yeah.
take that and magnify that to when you're feeling like your world is ending and your soul is crumbling. But if someone's asking you how they can be there for you or how they can help, you don't want to lay that all on them. It doesn't feel
Mhm.
safe. And to be very fair, the person asking doesn't usually want you to either. And
Oh, come on now, talk about that, right?
and we can feel that, right? You know when that's real.
Mm,
You know when
mm.
that's real.
I had a
So,
recent conversation with someone, we were talking about, just some of the things that they were going through, and,
mhm,
and that was something that they pointed out. They said, "No one really wants to hear it. No one really wants
not
to
really.
know, just how bad things are, 'cause
Not really. Yeah.
it's almost like that. Oh, I mean, I asked you how you were doing. I just thought it was
Right.
gonna be a quick, like, okay, now you done laid all this on me. I wasn't prepared for all that."
I
You know?
wasn't prepared for this, and I don't know what to say, and now I'm sad, yeah.
Right, right. But that is so true. I shared with someone one of the a saying that I don't like to hear people say, and which I understand that it's just a saying, and they
Yeah,
don't mean anything by it, but it can really stop people from grieving and from feeling being sitting in their emotions, and that is, oh, don't cry.
oh,
when you
yeah.
when someone hears don't cry, the first thing they do is, all right.
Swallow it back.
s- and
Yeah,
no, I'm good, I'm good.
yeah.
No,
Cut it off, yeah.
yeah, and a lot of times people don't go back and visit that because,
No.
again, they're afraid to, well, I don't want to, like I say, you don't want to make this person feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I don't want to be a burden on other people. So yeah,
exactly.
I encourage people to cry. I encourage people
Absolutely.
to feel their emotions and not feel rushed to, um even a hug, even as simple as something as a hug, to embrace people longer, and not, be so quick,
Rush through
because
that. Yep, yep.
it's something as simple as a hug, the same way
That's
people say
right.
about a smile. You never know just how much a smile passing by can actually lift someone's spirits and make them feel better, the same way it is with a hug. And I feel
Absolutely,
that way with grief. So I really appreciate you for touching on that, really.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely. That's
I
such a
know.
beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Uh-oh,
I know when we first talked about it,
I've got you
uh,
frozen.
huh?
We just okay. I see
Oh,
you again. Are you okay? There we
oh
go.
no, I can still see you. But yeah, I'm not really sure, and why that's happened, because I'm hardwired
Yeah, me
into
too.
my internet, so I'm not really sure why that happened. But yeah, I really appreciate the conversation, and where we actually talked about it. Of course, when I first asked you about being on the show, it was about what you learned and the perspective that you actually gained when you were training as a death doula,
Mhm.
about how to support someone that's left behind after suicide. Can you actually touch on that a little bit?
Absolutely, and with pleasure. To support someone left behind by suicide, they're carrying sort of a dual burden, because
Mhm.
not only are they grieving the loss of their loved one, but it's also sort of cloaked in shame and secrecy,
Yeah,
because that act of suicide is both a moral failing, the way it's framed in society.
yeah.
It's a moral framing, it's a crime. The language even committed suicide instead of I say die by
Mm,
I say die by suicide. We're not committing a
Oh, okay.
crime, or it's not this moral failing, like, for those who,
I like
subscribe to
that.
certain religions. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's important though. Just that reframing
Right.
helps that person that's left behind to kind of breathe a little different, because when you talk about the person, their loved one committing, like it it's a crime. That word
That's right.
is
That's
to
right. It's
indicate
it's
crime.
associated with a crime. Absolutely, yeah. Never
Absolutely.
thought about that.
That's right. And so die by suicide. I say die by suicide. And again, there's that moral veneer too, which those who subscribe to certain religions, it's considered a sin in some religions. And for me, that's not my framework. And so I think it's kind of a relief for me, even whether the person I may be talking to does subscribe to that notion,
Okay.
because it's not because I don't feel it, or I don't have that sort of view of it being a moral failing.
Mhm.
That kind of takes away the judgment or the shame, the feelings
Right.
they might have about it. So the most important piece I think about supporting the survivors, the left behind persons of the loved one that died by suicide, is just to hold this sort of space open where they don't have to feel shame or guilt, or like
Mm.
that person made a sovereign decision to with their bodily autonomy to. Now there's various reasons why, and I don't ever want to minimize the things that can lead to taking
Lead
those.
to it, sure.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes. But that if you frame it that way, and less as a moral failing and less as a crime, then that gives space for the person that's left behind to kind of grieve in this way that feels, because I guess if there's shame and there's these feelings of secrecy around it, you shouldn't grieve so openly. You don't really feel comfortable to give full expression to those feelings of grief, and they should be able to absolutely love and grieve out loud without feeling that shame and that judgment
Mm.
behind it. Yeah.
I never looked at it like that, but you're absolutely right. It's almost like society, without saying, right? Society doesn't say it,
Mhm.
but they do say it by the way that they,
Mhm.
like you said, committed, and and the stigma that's around it of, like you said, it to actually, they a lot of times it's like they don't have permission to
Exactly.
grieve. It's like,
Exactly.
they it's almost like, okay, let's just be real. It's almost like sometimes people may feel like, well, they did this to themselves, so
Yeah. What are you yeah.
yeah,
I
but so yeah, and I'm sure that brings people comfort, and just again, just having a different perspective can make all
Absolutely.
the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
It really
Absolutely.
can.
And I do wanna say too that a lot of the times when folks talk about, if they're able to actually get into a conversation with someone about suicide, I think, death by suicide, I think a lot of times the what am I trying to say? The focus is on, well, why did they do it? Well, oh, I don't know why they
Mm.
did it. And again, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter, because in this moment, because what that grieving person needs is less to try to picture and imagine and come up with different reasons, and they just want to be
Mm.
held and supported as someone who is grieving the loss of,
Mm.
instead of trying to diagnose or, you know, nitpick. Or there's so much guilt. How could I have prevented this? How could I have?
Yeah.
There's so many layers
Yeah.
to that. Yeah, when really that person just wants permission to be able to feel the things, and to be held in that space, like it's okay to grieve, like they have permission to
Right.
fully grieve. Yeah.
Right. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's a completely different perspective, which I appreciate, because I never even looked at it like that. Because I believe I've been guilty of asking that question. Like,
Sure. Sure.
were they going through something? What was,
Yeah. Yeah.
and again, I definitely agree that there's a lot of guilt that for those that are left behind,
Mhm.
uh, and just questions that they have. So
Mhm.
even if even if they have to deal with that later,
Yeah. Oh, sure.
just being able to grieve openly, honestly, and not having to have shame themselves with
Exactly.
their
It
own
makes a
grief,
difference.
so yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And it definitely gives a better appreciation for a death doula, because like I said, I never really understood exactly what it was, but I definitely understand and see the need for it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
hopefully this conversation will open that up to other people, and just realize that that's a source that they actually have, a resource that they have.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. My
Um,
pleasure, and the thing I wanna say, that I'm most interested in at the end of the day is not so much for me to be hired. I think I've kind of hinted
of
around
course,
this, but
yeah.
it's not that I'm looking for. It's necessary for some people and a good thing even for some people to seek outside of themselves, outside of their community for
Mhm,
someone to help in this way.
mhm.
But also I want us to bring it home. I want us to be able to doula our own friends and family, each other,
Mm,
within community.
yeah,
So I think that the ultimate goal for me is just make normalizing this conversation, giving people
mhm,
options so that we can be each other's doulas. We can be each other's support and help
yeah.
and comfort and just understand how to walk each other through these thresholds.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And again, very, very much so. And I like the way that you frame that. That you can doula your friends and your family.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it's not so much that you have to go through a training, but just with these simple steps that you've actually said, these are ways that you can be there and support your friend. So yeah, I
That's it,
like
that's the
that.
mission. That's the mission, yeah.
So for someone who has never experienced that kind of loss firsthand, what do you wish more people understood about actually supporting survivors of suicide? If I feel like you may have touched on that, but
Pretty
I still
much,
wanted to
yes.
ask that. Okay, so yeah, you kind of touched on it, just saying, just allowing them that space, right? Just allowing them that space
Mhm.
to be able to grieve openly and
Yeah.
without a stigma attached to it.
Exactly, exactly. Not
So,
feeling like there's anything to fix or diagnose or figure out,
mhm,
like, not sleuthing and trying to figure out what like you said, actually, maybe that comes later and that comes for that individual when
yeah,
they, because of course you can't help, right, but lay awake in bed all night and think about what happened, what went wrong, but in
the
the
what
moment,
ifs.
if you're being a support to someone, that is not the time to do it unless they
Mhm.
ask, unless they wanna run through it with you and they're like, "Well, what do you think?" But I mean, that wouldn't be the first thing out of my mouth if I'm showing up and offering support for someone
That's
who
right.
is, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So I know initially when I actually responded to a post that you posted. You posted, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong.
Mhm.
You posted, I think on Facebook or one of the social media. You were saying that you were having difficulty finding places to uh, spaces, I guess,
Hmm.
to in your new sobriety, being sober, some of the issues that you were running into. So you're now a year and some change. What has that journey looked like for you, and what has actually helped you stay committed? Through some of the hard moments of even just finding, space where it's like it's okay to be sober when you're going out.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely a year is still very new and it's a work in progress. But that
Right.
journey for me has been this beautiful sort of rediscovering
Hmm.
of myself. I
Yeah.
think the initial fear for a lot of us in getting sober is that well, one, the FOMO, we're going to miss out. We're not normal. We can't have fun.
Hmm.
But for me, and I think it may go unspoken because I can't really find many discussions around this. For me, part of the fear was that I was going to lose the thing that made me charming or effervescent or sparkly personality,
Okay.
because I'm actually an
Hmm.
introvert, and when I would have a glass or 2 of wine, it was that turned off, and I'm the life of the party. So
Right.
I was worried that maybe that interesting, and the next day I would hear stories, like positive stuff, like, "Oh my gosh, you were hilarious," or "You were so sexy," or "You were this," and and maybe I didn't remember it, you know what I mean? But it but it was, like, overwhelmingly positive, which is the mind, right?
Yes.
Because it's like
Hmm.
overwhelmingly people liked that version of me.
Yeah.
So I was afraid that that was all I could be, that's all that personality was from the bottle.
Yeah.
Um, so this journey has been about rediscovering who, like, that is me, the core of me, even underneath the introversion.
Yeah.
It's about creating ways to celebrate myself and celebrate life that are not attached to liquor, because like
Hmm.
everything from, everything is attached to a glass of champagne or
Yeah.
this or that,
Celebration. Yeah.
celebrate,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
even sex, which is why I say all these things are interconnected. There's intersectionality with birth, sex, death, and for me, the sober sensualist sort of sits right in the middle of all of that, because every threshold, if I want to, have a Valentine's dinner, or get sexy for later, I'm gonna have some
Mhm.
champagne. If I'm
Mhm.
after or before a funeral, you're drinking. Like there's so many life thresholds and events and celebrations and sadness, or after work when you're tired. There's so many places where alcohol has shown up and has been held up to
Yeah.
be normal and to the answer even. So
Mhm.
rediscovering, I think my journey has been about rediscovering who I am and the versions of her that's maybe a little softer, quieter, but still there, still funny, still
Mhm.
charming, still
Mhm.
sensual, and finding new ways to celebrate, to unwind, to create a life that I don't feel the need to escape from.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was there more to the question? I can't remember if I missed some part
No,
of it.
no, 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 no. You answered the question. And I know for myself, that was really huge for me. The like what would my life look? What would my life be without? And again,
Mhm.
the person that I was in front of people when I was drinking was not who I was behind closed doors. Because behind
Mhm.
closed doors, it was just throwing them back. But in front,
Mhm.
it was, oh yeah, yeah, very social.
Yeah.
Oh no, no, I'm good. I'm good. No, no, no,
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
had enough.
yeah.
Or and I even told I shared with my family. They were like, you don't drink that much when we're together. I was like, yeah. Well, see, that's because I usually pour this much alcohol and
Yeah,
about that
yeah,
much,
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
and they were like, "Oh, really?"
exactly.
And I said, "Yeah, I made some pretty powerful drinks,
Yes,
and
yes,
that's why
indeed.
I could, you know, actually have that look of not drinking as
Of
much."
not, that's right,
Mhm. So
that's
yeah,
right.
that was something that I definitely struggled with. Have you found um a re- I don't even want to say a replacement because it's not even about replacement.
Right.
Have you found a mocktail or are there specific mocktails that you've actually created or that you've actually found that you enjoy?
I love them all because it's just so novel to me. Nothing in particular, my new vice is tea. When I say
Okay.
I'm losing my mind, I'm crazy. Like I have so much tea, loose leaf tea, and my
Right.
Bridgerton teacups, and my like. I have a. If you go in the pantry and just open, it's like an avalanche of just
Right.
different kind of
Okay.
teas. So that is my replacement comfort. And morning, noon, and night, I'm having a cup of tea.
Okay.
But I will speak to mocktails because it's been something. Oh my gosh, I'm such a traveler, and with
Yes.
that comes the lounge and the first class experience, and that was
Mhm.
always
Mhm.
some champagne. I mean,
Yes.
always. So
Yes.
that has
Mhm.
been like, oh, that was the last thing I think that makes me still feel like, oh, and now I'm okay. But I think that was the last thing because it's like treat yourself when you're getting on the plane and about to
Right.
take off. It's
Right.
just, yeah.
Right.
And so I've discovered, let's see, what was that? Was that Qantas? I need to look now and see which airline it was, but they had a mocktail menu on the plane. And
Oh,
it's
that's
the little
beautiful.
things like that. Like that makes me
Yes.
feel so
Yes.
seen,
Yeah.
like that's like, thank
Absolutely.
you. I want something that's not just my everyday drink so that it can feel special, so that it can
Mhm.
feel celebratory.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so every time I go somewhere and I find a dedicated mocktail menu, it doesn't
Mhm.
really matter to me what's on it. It
What's
matters to
on
me that
it is just the
it's
fact
there.
that they thought enough, yeah, to actually have it on there, yeah.
I love that. I love that so much.
I know my brother and my sister-in-law, they were very supportive and they were always looking for something, my brother would Nisi, my brother calls me by my middle name. He
Niecy.
calls me Nisi. He's like, Nisi, we have this over here for you. But they actually introduced me to these mocktail. It's blur.
Nice. That's a
It's
pretty
this one
can.
is it's Mocktail Club. We're not
Yes.
sponsored, but I absolutely love the flavors. So,
Okay,
for
I wanna try
example,
that.
this
Okay.
is Bombay Fire,
Yes. Oh,
all natural ingredients, has pomegranate tea and
yes.
chili peppers.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay. I want to
uh,
try that.
Capri Spritz. They have Capri
Yes.
Spritz, and that has pomegranate, cranberry scrub, and lemongrass.
Yes, that sounds amazing.
Manhattan berry, which is blackberry, pear scrub, and ginger, and which I love this because I love ginger.
The ginger, that little burn of ginger. Where can you
Mhm,
get these?
mhm.
That looks
And
amazing.
then Havana Twist. Havana Twist, I'll have to send you these, but yeah, that is lime, cardamom, and cucumber and mint.
Oh,
So
that
yeah,
sounds
just
so bougie.
really,
That's
really good.
perfect.
Yeah, really, really good flavors. And again, it made me feel better rather than just drinking a soda or just drinking,
Exactly.
mixing something that made it look like it was a,
Right.
yeah,
It's
like you said, just
elevated. It yeah.
exactly. And I like the fact that, like I said, they do have a lot of different flavors. Black owned also.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
black
Definitely gonna be
owned. Yeah.
looking that up.
My
Definitely gonna be
sister-in-law is
looking that
very
up.
huge about buying black owned yeah, yeah,
I
so yeah. But like I said,
I'm
and
a huge
again, the fact is not only, black owned, but they actually taste good. They have a really
right.
good flavor, mhm.
That
So yeah.
matters.
Yeah, so you
That's
have to let
Thank
me know if
you
you
for
try 'em.
introducing me.
Yeah.
I'm going
Yeah,
to, because that
absolutely.
little fancy, that little something extra, it's not an
Mhm.
everyday, like, that feels celebratory. We also deserve to get to
Yes.
feel that,
Right.
So, yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. So what was the moment you realized that sobriety was becoming more than just giving up something and that
Mm.
it was actually helping you to kind of reclaim your life?
When
Or
I
have you even has that even happened? Maybe you're
Yes.
still on that journey. Mhm.
Yes, and I think it's still a beautiful revelation, like an unfolding.
Mhm.
Every day it gets a little bit clearer, and every day I'm a
Right.
little bit more grateful. But I
Yeah.
have had a moment when it felt like this is definitely not deprivation. This is expansion. Like this is
Yeah.
opening me up, not taking away, not
Yeah.
closing off. Probably my last birthday, I flew out to Pisa, well, I flew out to a couple places. I went to JMC, one of his Euro retreats, which was
Mhm.
in Florence. And then from there, after the retreat ended, I kind of ended up in Lucca and Pisa. And so on this whole trip, but especially when I got off to myself and left
Yeah.
the retreat, I think I just had this moment of really, well, first of all, waking up not with no anxiety and no
Right.
shame and no
Yeah.
questions or fogginess, being
Yeah.
able
Yeah.
to remember everything, being
Mm.
able to feel everything,
Mm. Yeah.
because alcohol is numbing, and while it in the moment when you're drinking, it's like, oh, this is pleasure, this is sensation, but it numbs you, it closes off those
Yeah.
pathways to pleasure and sensation. So being able to experience things really fully and be present in those
Yeah.
sensations and remember where I'm at and what I'm looking at and how this
Mhm.
tastes and how this feels.
Yeah.
I was sitting alone too, dining alone, so all the things that could give you anxiety
Right, right.
or make you feel weird, I
Right.
was dining alone in this plaza in Lucca and just looking around and music, and the food was fantastic. Oh my, the food was
Right.
fantastic, and just had this moment of, see, this is pleasure. Like I'm living life. I'm not,
Yeah.
and in okay, I think I left this out. There was some fear about going to Italy because we associate beautiful wines with Italy, right? And
Oh, yeah, that's so
was
true. Yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
a
Yeah,
wine lover. Yeah.
and can you tell me where that was in your journey? Like, was it like 2 or 3 months into your sobriety or
Okay, thank you. October,
yeah,
so that would have been February, March, April, May, June, July, October. Oh, so 6, 7 months? 6, yeah, it
right,
was
yeah,
right.
still
Ooh,
pretty new.
fresh.
Yeah, oh my gosh. So yeah, yeah, I'm glad that you touched on that. How did you deal with that, or did you find that it wasn't a struggle at all?
So for me, I will say it wasn't a big struggle. For me,
Mhm,
I felt more moments of just, oh, like, at first, like, why can't I be like everybody else?
right.
And
Mhm.
there has to be this shift from why can't I have to I don't need it and I
I
don't
don't
want it.
I don't
You
want
know
it.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Yeah,
Mhm,
yeah, yeah.
mhm.
But in that moment, I realized I was having a mocktail. I was eating the most amazing food, and I was just like, I'm not losing anything
Yeah,
by not having that glass
by
of
not
wine.
having the
The
wine.
people at the
Mhm.
tables around me had their wine, the sommelier person, they're coming out and pouring, and they're talking about the pairings, and I'm listening and I'm smiling, because I remember and I'm thinking about things, but I didn't feel deprived. And that was
Right,
the beginning of really getting it. Like I knew what I was doing was for the best. Logically, it's for the
right.
best and
Mhm.
all your whys, but it doesn't feel right. But in that moment,
Right.
I was so full of pleasure, and there was no room to feel lack. It was an
Mm.
expansion. It was abundance. I felt
Mm,
very
that's
abundant.
beautiful. I
Thank
love
you.
that. I love
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah. So tell us about, your creation of tell us about the name. Tell us about the name, and what it means, and what inspired you to create the Sober Sensualist. Love that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Right along this is a perfect segue because right
Yeah.
along that same vein, let's see, how do I want to phrase this? With the primary concerns for me being losing the fun, losing out on pleasure. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm what I call a hedonist, like a hedonist, but femme, like hedonist, and
Right.
like I live for pleasure. I live for experiences. I want
Mhm.
to taste it all and hear and listen to the textures and luxury.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of those, and it felt because alcohol culture has been so wrapped all around and through sensuality of all forms. People think
Oh, yeah.
sex when they hear sensual, but
Of
sensuality,
course, yeah.
yeah, sensualism is about the senses. It isn't just sex. It's all of your
Mm.
senses, whether it's hearing, touch, taste, all of those things. And alcohol culture was so like entwined with that it just
Yeah.
felt like there was no way to really separate it. And I was worried about still getting to have pleasure and have fun. And what I was able to find in my search for support or my search for a community was that you've got either the um the recovery side of I don't know, social media or a community, things like that, where it's all about like your AA and your
Yeah, yeah.
deprivation and it's very stern, yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
steps and
Mhm.
rules, and it's like this, and it doesn't look
Right.
very
Mhm.
fun, right?
Mhm.
And then
Right.
right on the other side, there's white wine mom culture, right? Which also doesn't speak to me because I'm not gonna go put on my Lululemon, and nothing wrong with this, right? But this is also not my experience.
Right, exactly, yeah.
It
Just
it
not
just
your truth,
wasn't
right.
it just wasn't my truth, and I didn't
Mhm.
see myself in it, and it didn't feel right to me. So we've got this subset over here, this subset over here, but I hadn't heard anyone, and especially no one Black and queer, talking
Yeah.
to a lived experience of wanting pleasure and unapologetically seeking pleasure, because that's another one of those things that we have been
Mm.
told one way or another
Right.
is bad to
Is a
want
no-no.
pleasure.
You can't mm-mm,
You
hey,
shouldn't
you
want
can't
that.
enjoy this. Yeah, you can't enjoy this.
You shouldn't
You
like
better
that. You
suffer
can go
through it.
work hard. Go work hard and don't rest and don't enjoy it.
Right,
Don't have fun.
right.
Lay there and think of what is it, Queen and Country or whatever. Like
Right.
you're not supposed to want pleasure. So that's
Right.
what I was looking for. And I wanted to be honest about like that. I want to see the luxury. I want to have fun. I want to have these delicious wine pairings that won't leave me blacked out. I want to, not wine pairings,
Mhm.
excuse me, tastings, meal tastings
Yeah,
paired with something, even alcohol-free wine, which I'm so excited about. But
yeah.
things like that allow me to still have these experiences just without alcohol. So when I realized that I wasn't seeing that anywhere, but that it was something that I very much believed in and could, as you see, stand here and platform about it. I thought, well, why don't I create it? I am the sober sensualist. I'm all about travel and experiences and food and feeling good. And it's just
I love it.
uh, thank you. Another iteration of my doulaing or birth, sex, death, which is another platform that I'm working on. This is just one expression of that shows that we can still be present. We can still be. It's somatic, and it's about living embodiment and just being in our bodies and enjoying life and enjoying where we are right
Yes.
now. Yeah, without shame and still sucking the juice out of life, but non-fermented juice out
Right.
of life.
Um, so is it, um is it a platform? Is it a community? Yeah,
Thank
what
you
is
for
it? And what is
asking.
and what yeah, what the legacy of it? Because it definitely sounds like something that, that's necessary, that's needed, and, I love the fact of I think it's helpful for people to, again, have a different perspective and different relationship when it comes to being sober. Like you said, because you're almost reintroduced to
Yep,
these different senses that you've actually cut off from being from numbing,
all the
so like
feelings
your
too, yeah.
taste. And again, it's so true. When you talk about your taste buds, you
Yeah.
taste things differently. And I used
Yes.
to smoke as well. So
Yeah.
my taste buds, between alcohol and cigarettes, all of those different things touch all of that, all of those things taste. So yeah, tell us about the legacy and exactly what it is, type
Okay.
of community.
Absolutely. Okay, right now, it's both a philosophy. So again,
Okay.
I'm kind of doing this thing where I want to teach. I'm desperately drawn to
Yes.
teaching
Mhm.
people another way to see things and look.
Mhm.
It's a philosophy, but also a community. I'm
Yeah.
trying to gather us together so that we can talk about these things. And it's Black, female, queer, all
Mhm.
centered, however, open to anyone who can be an ally in a whole space. But I want to
Yeah.
center us because our stories have not been in either of those cultures, the AA or the wine
Right.
mom. We're just nowhere
Right.
to be found. And so a lot of
Mhm.
Black women suffer in silence. We really do, because
Yes.
where can we
Mhm.
go? So I want the community aspect is huge, but I'm also interested in like I'm okay. I partner with Sober Black Girls Club, if you've heard of them, and we are having a retreat here in Playa del Carmen. So I
Oh,
want to
wow,
be
that's so fun. Oh my gosh.
yeah, so I
When is
want
the
to be able to
retreat?
offer things like that. That is November. Hold on, don't be lying. November 4th through the 8th, I believe. November 4th through
Oh,
the 8th,
that's
a while out.
awesome. Mhm.
And things like that is right up my alley as a avid traveler. I mean, avid
Yes,
traveler. That
yes,
kind of having curating experiences for us that um, can show exactly that that vacation does not have to be liquor soaked. It doesn't have to be, and
yeah,
we can still have all the
yeah.
fun. The legacy I want to leave, I think it's just for the woman who's thinking like myself. That am I is it over? Like, is am I done having fun? Am I
Mm,
done being bright? Am I done enjoying life? Do I have to be boring now? I want
yeah.
them to know that being dry doesn't have to be dry. Like, there's still plenty of
Right?
life
I
left.
love
There's
that,
still
yeah. Like,
there's still
dry does
plenty
not mean yeah,
it
like, you
it don't mean dry, right?
that's right, yeah. Dry you can be dry, but not dry.
Exactly. Exactly, and that's
Yeah,
the thing I really want is just to be able to reach people with that simple statement really is that the knowledge that you can create a life that isn't based on, you know, what culture or society has painted to be the thing. Like, that's not what's normal. You can have
yeah,
this life that is big and full and juicy, um, and it be alcohol free and it's okay and that's possible to feel everything and remember everything and be present. I want
yes,
that person that's questioning, well, if I give this up, what's next? What's left? I
yeah.
want to be the answer
No.
to that.
I
Mhm.
love that, and I think it's very necessary because I myself had those questions.
Yeah.
I was like, "How?" And again, even when we go on vacation, it was like, how am I gonna be when we go on vacation? Like,
Yeah, how
that
do
was
I
the thing that we
unwind?
did, like, we had alcohol, like, across like
Whole vacation.
right, so yeah, I appreciate that, so for someone right now who's, grieving, struggling with sobriety, and just trying to rebuild after pain, what would you want them to hear and understand most from today?
Just to stay in the sensation, stay present. Don't feel like you have to run from it. Don't feel like you have to anesthetize it. Um, hide it, hide from it
Mhm.
yourself or hide it from others,
That's
you
good.
know?
Yeah.
It's just stay with it and you know, I think that's the biggest thing. When we when we realize that though it feels like it will take you out, I think realizing that
Yeah,
if you stay and metabolize those feelings,
right.
um, there is another side. There is an out. There's another side. There's an end to it, and there are resources and people and, you know, folks like myself and others who are trying our best to be a support as best we
Yeah.
can, as human as we can, who are available to talk to about these things. There are resources and books, but stay, let yourself feel, and the fear of what you're going to feel is usually, not always, but sometimes worse than what is actually there if you just allow yourself to be present and get
Yeah,
curious about
and
what
go
you're
through it.
feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Let yourself go through it. That
Mhm.
fighting the thing is what makes it more painful.
Yes, I love
That
that.
fighting
Just
it I have 2 examples of that, as a matter of fact, childbirth and psychedelics, because,
mm,
both of
yeah,
those things, if you tense down, because I did tense, and this is labor, I knew all about contractions. I was ready for
right.
them. I could prepare for them because that had been what I had read about and was taught.
Right. Mhm.
But when it came time to pu
All that went out the
to
door, right?
right. When it came time to push and crowning and this sensations that's so overwhelming and it no longer
Right.
feels like you have, I was afraid because I didn't know I hadn't thought about that sensation when people act like contractions are the main event. And so in fear,
Right.
I'm clamping and now I'm trying to close it back up. Like, you know, I'm
Yes,
trying to, I'm
exactly,
like,
yeah.
I'm scared of
Mhm.
tearing. I'm afraid. And that makes it so much worse than if you
Right.
just move through it and go and
Mhm.
relax and open and allow yourself to feel like, no, it doesn't feel good, but allow yourself to be that.
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong. It is
Mhm.
normal and human to feel pain, whether that's emotional pain or that physical pain of laboring, or
Yes.
same thing with psychedelics. I messed around and this was a while back, but you know, you microdosing, I think there's lots of good things. That's another episode that can be very good
Okay.
for mental health and things like that. But I
Okay.
microdosed myself into a macro dose one time, and I was and I was fighting it because I was like, "Oh, no, 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 this is not what I had in mind. I did not wanna go on any kind of trip. I was not looking for that." But I felt
Right.
myself kind of halfway, and I was afraid, and I just wanted it to be normal. I wanted it to run in the background like an
Right.
operating
Right.
system.
Right. Right. Right.
I
Yeah.
didn't wanna feel anything, and
Mhm.
I finally just laid down on a yoga mat and was like, "Okay, let it take me," because this fighting made it worse. It was giving me anxiety. I was trying
Anxiety. Yeah.
to
Yes.
stay
Yes.
normal
Yes.
and not feel the thing and just be and do, and it wasn't working. So
Yeah.
once I laid down and did my deep breathing and just let it wash over me. It wasn't nearly as scary as I thought it was, as I
Mhm.
was making it by
Yeah.
fighting it. So all of that, when I say stay and be present and allow those things to go through you, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken.
Yeah.
It's just normal, a human experiencing and a human grieving and a human
Mhm.
going through human emotions. And if you allow yourself to be that instead of thinking you have to fix it or change it or
Or
erase it or
change it. Yeah.
stuff it or minimize it, then
Or
it
like you said,
actually,
that it's not normal, like, all of
yeah,
that is normal.
it's
Change is
normal.
difficult, and it is uncomfortable at times, but once you get on the other side of it, you realize, like, wow, I know for myself, you realize that it wasn't as difficult
It
as you
seems,
again, like you say, you were making it because you were trying to
yeah.
fight against, just
Yes,
had that battle within yourself. Um,
absolutely.
I wanna share your, information. I wanna put that up, for your
Yay,
contact information, um,
yay.
for anyone that is, interested. I definitely I'd have to take a look at it as well. I think that
Sure.
it's definitely a needed space. And, can you share with everyone again just who is the trip open? The trip that you were talking about?
Right now, we're the waiting list is open. It's the trip to the Sober Black Girls Club, ex Sober Sensualist,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be a time. Right now, we're doing the waiting list just to make sure that we have enough space to accommodate, and then those who are going to be serious and actually want to join us. So you're more
Right,
than welcome to, I believe, on the Sober Sensualist my website.
right.
There is an intake form where you can put your email and note interest in the trip, and then
Okay.
that way, yeah, we'll know and we'll be in contact.
That's awesome. Awesome, awesome,
Absolutely,
awesome. All right.
absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Definitely an enlightening conversation.
Thank you for having me. This
Just
is
definitely,
beautiful what you've
and
created.
again, yeah, you're welcome. I love thinking and learning, like you said. So you definitely, opened my eyes to a lot of different things in a lot of different areas. Um, so so yeah, so definitely want to thank you so much for being here tonight. Everyone follow Depression Proof Your Life.
Yep. You've just disappeared from me again. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. She got booted. We're about to make it the Sober Sensualist show. Are we still recording? Yep. Marion will be back with us shortly, I'm sure. Maybe. Or maybe internet's out. Let me check my notes, my email. Maybe she's trying to message me.
Well,
Oh, there you go.
girl, I'm glad this thing wasn't live. Girl, I didn't realize I didn't have my computer plugged in.
Oh, it died?
That thing just completely shut off. I was like, what?
That tickled me. I was like, "Do I stay?" I was like, "I think I'm gonna stay. You gonna come back." But your computer, I did not expect that. Your computer just turned off on you. That is
No, my
Yeah.
now, mind you, I had gotten, of course, the message saying that it was 10%, and I'm like,
Right. Yeah, I
10%.
got this. Yeah.
I got, I got,
10% went down to
I
1 real
got,
quick, 0.
I got plenty of time.
Oh my
Oh Lord, have
goodness.
mercy. So anyway, thank you so much. So let me try to do this close again.
Okay. Let's
Oh
do
my
it. Let's get
goodness, that
together.
was too funny.
That's too cute.
But I appreciate you for holding on. But thank you so much for being here tonight. Follow Depression Proof Your Life so you don't miss any future conversations like this. Show airs every Thursday evening, sharing real stories and practical tools to build resilience and protecting your mental health. Until next time, good night.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us on Depression Proof Your Life Live tonight. If this conversation stirred up heavy emotions for you, reach out for help. Call or text 988 for 24-hour support in the U.S. If you're outside the U.S., look up your local crisis helpline. If you'd like to stay connected with DPYL, make sure to follow and subscribe on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And visit depression-prooflife.com for resources, blogs, and to share your story. Depression Proof Your Life offers workshops and trainings designed to help teams reduce burnout and strengthen resilience. Together, we're building a community of strength, clarity, and resilience. Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, healing is possible.